Hi there, folks. This is Kellyanne with Church Windows. We're going to go ahead and get started. Computer says 101. My cell phone says 1259, so we'll split the difference. And now it says 102 here. So let's go ahead and get started with today's webinar. Again, my name is Kellyanne, and I'm your presenter for today. Rachel is also in the room, and she's just listening, and she's going to keep an eye on the question panel. If it's your first time using the GoToWebinar product, you have a GoToWebinar toolbar, and on there is a question panel. I won't unmute people just because it would get too loud, but if you type your questions in there, Rachel will be answering those as I show you the material, and then at the end of what I want to show you, I'll read things out loud and answer them for everyone. Try to keep your questions topical, just for everyone who's in here today to learn about data entry setup. The material I'm looking at today is taken from one of our workbooks, and you don't need it to follow along today or understand what I'm showing you. But if you own the most current workbook or you're interested in purchasing the books, you would go to Beginning on our website and then click on Training Workbooks. And the material I'm using is from, here you can see information about the cost, different packages available. What I'm using today, though, is from Membership 101. The very first 6 pages, page 2 through 8. So the membership data entry, and we'll look at the program version and portal and the special functions under settings and options, and that's where we'll stop. So let me go ahead and close this. On your GoToWebinar toolbar, again, if it's your first time using it, there was a little presentation about that. If you need it out of the way, if it's blocking what I'm showing you, there's a little orange arrow you can click on, and that will minimize it down. If you click on that again, it will pop it back open, and you can open the question panel and type things in there. So let's go ahead and get started. I went ahead and opened up the program. We're on the most current version. You can see in the upper right, version 21.18.1. So if you're on a prior version, it might look a little different. The settings screen has stayed the same for the past couple versions. They just keep adding more little things you can change in the settings. But if you're looking in the book, the first part of the book talks about membership data entry and some of the things you can do. There's 2 pretty lengthy paragraphs. I'm not going to read word for word. But then it moves down and shows you a picture of what we see on screen right now, the program version and what we call the portal, the opening portal, or the user-friendly splash screen, some people call it. Here is where you can choose. First, you'd put in a username and password, and then the portal screen opens. And this is where you can click on membership, scheduler, donation, or accounting, any of those that you own. If you don't own them, it would just say trial, and it's limited functions on a trial. Also here is where you would go into administration, where you can do backups and restores, put your church information and system info, set up your security, and support is usually a place where you're only going there with a technician, because you can't really do anything in there without a super secret special password. But that's where you can get some administrative tools. And then under help, click a little X there. If you click help, you do need to tell it to allow block content if it tells you that, because it does bring up the internet, because here are our help files here. They're searchable. I did not put in any word, or it wasn't on a screen. If you're on a specific screen in Church Windows, it will take you right to that topic if we have one. And then you can also exit this screen with the exit button or the X in the upper right. I always just use the X on the upper right. Also on page 3 talks about this year's version. We usually have a new version each year, and this year it was 2118. That middle number now, they've kind of changed how we call our versions. That middle number indicates what year it was released. So 21 was released in 2018, and we are already now at 0.1, which means we've had one service release for that. All right, so let's go ahead and open up membership. I got to watch being too chatty because we've got a lot of little topics in 6 pages to go over, and I can talk for days. So once we click on membership, that opens up the membership portal, which we see on the screen. You can click on any of the buttons here in the middle. It takes you those functions, or you can click on the more detailed, where you have to click one or two things along the top and go to the same functions and others along the top. These in the middle are just shortcuts to the most common used things. What we want to look at today, though, if you are following in the book, I moved to page 4, we're going to look at the settings screen. And I recommend, if you're new to the program, before you start entering data, take a look at the settings. Even if you're a current user and you've owned the program for a while, doesn't hurt every once in a while to go in and take a look at those settings and make sure they're set to what you like, especially since as the program keeps getting larger, they keep adding more to that settings screen. So to access that, you do have to have anything else closed in Church Windows. Like if I have my report screen open and I try to go up to special functions and settings, it's going to tell me I need to close anything I have open in membership before I can go to settings, because it controls a lot of the functionality of the different areas of membership. So let's click on special functions and settings. And if you're following along in the book, I'm at page 5 now. And I'm not going to stick my head in the book. I'm just going to start in the upper left corner and talk to you about the different little checkboxes here. Excuse me. So first, notice across the top of the settings screen, we do have 5 different tabs. The first tab has the most on it, I think, our options tab. And again, these are all little settings having to do with how membership functions. The first one, backup member file before a mass edit. In Church Windows, you can mass edit fields, information, with just a few clicks. I'm not going to show you how to do that today. That would take a lot longer than we have time for. But when you do that, you're changing sometimes a lot of information with just a few clicks. If you have a check here in backup member file before mass edit, then when you click the mass edit button to perform that function, the program will automatically create a backup file, and there's a little restore button. If you decide, you look at what you did and you decide you don't like it, you can easily restore back to where you were. So I can't think of any reason to not have a check in backup member file before mass edit. So that's that. The next item is sort by family number on people screen. Let me show you the old program. I'm not sure how, I think it was version 16. It was one of the older before it changed. In the old program, the records were stored according to the family number that we see in the upper left. Let me get my little spotlight here. This number. So the records were stored numerically according to entry order. Now they've changed that to where we can choose to have it stored by the family number, or right now we have it sorted alphabetically. Get my non-clicking tool back here. So notice if I click my arrow, now I was at Abendschein, Allen, Arnold, so we're viewing it alphabetically right now. If I go into settings, and I am doing this kind of quick because I've got a lot to show you in 20 minutes. I save that. Now if I go into people, might need to close and reopen. Nope, there we go. Look up here. Now I'm sorting numerically rather than alphabetically. So you can sort, choose how your records are displayed to you just by checking that box in settings. Okay, somebody said they lost their sound. Okay, well, I did not hit a mute button, so I don't know what happened there. All right, they said it's back. All right, good. I'm going to uncheck that because normally on here we don't have that checked. All right, there's a new function in version 21. It's called the dashboard. It's right here, this little button. If I click that, that brings up the dashboard where I can do different charts and graphs and things. Some people would prefer to have that come up automatically when I open. So if I check here, show dashboard when membership starts, I close out of membership. Now when I open membership, ta-da, the dashboard pops up automatically. So I could do, maybe you do charts and graphs before you go in. If you like that, go ahead and in settings, you can tell it to show the dashboard when membership starts, and that way it automatically comes up right away instead of having to click on it. Notice these options and are saved by user. So with your logins and security, each user could choose different things here. All right, the next item, show middle name and donations membership. That is simply, do you want to see the middle name on different screens in, and on reports in membership and donations. Next, we have use organization city, state, zip code, and area code for new records. That refers to when you are in system information and you have to fill out your church information. It's one of the first things you have to do before the program will let you continue working in it. By having that checked, that's telling the program to go ahead and use the church's city, state, and zip code and area code and automatically just fill those in as a default for when you're adding new records. You can edit those, but if the majority of your records are going to be the same city, state, zip code, and area code, that can save you time entering those and just have it fill in automatically. Edit it for people, you know, that it isn't the same. Next thing, use organization country for new records. Same thing. Most people are in the U.S., but I think we do have a few customers who are not in the United States and not in Canada, overseas. Excuse me, let me get a sip of coffee. Okay, sorry, I had to mute there. I don't want to cough in your ear anymore. All right, the next item, insert city and state based on the zip code, and this requires an internet connection. If you'd like for it to, when you put the zip code in, for it to automatically find and fill in the city and state and zip, you can choose this. And then you have the option, if you do select it, to have it inserted only when it's blank, or to always put it and overwrite anything that was there previously. Next, we can have it automatically uppercase the first letter of name fields. Pretty self-explanatory. Then we have show group start and end date warning. What that is when you create a group or class and you go to save it, a little window will pop up prompting you to put in a start and end date. If you don't want to put a start and end date, you can just say okay and close out of that, and we'll let you continue. But that's just a nice reminder. If you like to track history, putting start and end dates is highly recommended. That way you know when they were in that group or class. If you don't keep a history of people being in groups and classes and you're not concerned with start and end dates, putting those on, you know, a person's record of when they were in the group or class, then uncheck that and you won't get the little warning when you're creating groups and classes or putting people in them. Next we have print area codes other than, and that refers to when you're printing reports and directories. We can tell it, you know, if most of the people have the same area code as the church and we don't want it printing on everything, then we can put that area code here in this little box, and then it's only going to print area codes that are different from what I put in that box, because we assume when there's not one there that it's, you know, the 614 here of Columbus rather than 740 of Reynoldsburg. I think Reynoldsburg 740. Moving on, I am now on page 6. If you're following along in the book, show ages. In the membership module, under people, if you record a birth date, a full birth date, then the program can figure out the age of that person. And notice here on the left, lower left, where I see all my family members, we see the age of people. So we can have it show us the person's age if they have a birth date, a full birth date. And if we like, we can choose to only show certain ages. We can show everyone, or we could tell it for those younger than, maybe younger than 18, or for no one. So now if I save that and go back into people, I should only see people younger than 18. So there I only see now Donna and Hannah, the 12 and 13-year-old, where before we were seeing everybody but Jack. So I'm assuming Jack didn't have a birth date. All right, let's look now. The button in the lower left is reset all screens to default size and locations. If you don't have a report pop up or you can't see a screen when you click a button, close that module because it's probably hidden somewhere, reopen the module and come in here and click reset all screens to default size and location. It should gray out. I've seen it once or twice in mine not gray out the first time, so I click it a second to make sure it grays out. Click save, then try that function again. Something about the Microsoft Windows updates that are automatically usually downloaded to your machines, it's changed the way it talks to Church Windows reports, and sometimes it minimizes them rather than bringing that preview right up on screen. But resetting your screen size, that button, you can find that in settings in each of the different modules. Just click that, try your report, might save you waiting on a phone call back from us. All right, next, middle of page 6, let's move on. Let's go back to special functions and settings. And over to the right, there's some different things there that you can relabel if you want to change the name of those fields. You can click on the second column, and you can change that field and use it for something else if you like. Oh, well, thank you. I just happened to look over, and Carl said that piece of info is worth this webinar. That must be the reset screen size. I put that in the tech tips very often. I write the tech tips, so if you're reading the tech tips, you would know that one. If you don't get the tech tips, then I'd check with whoever receives the emails and ask them to make sure they distribute those for everyone, because they're usually only 2 to 3 pages. And it's usually little things like that that we keep seeing over and over again on calls, and we try to, make sure everybody knows about those. All right, so we can relabel fields over on the right. Let's go ahead and look at the next tab, Set Anniversary Date. The marriage or anniversary date field is one you set or create. So the program needs to know what field you use as your anniversary or marriage date field. So it's going to look for any fields that show the word date. And you can come in here and click the down arrow and look at the different fields and choose the one that represents your anniversary or marriage date. If you don't do that, when you first go to the anniversary report, it will pop up a little window asking you the same thing. So if you haven't set it up, when you go to run your first anniversary report, fear not, it will ask you. All right. Next, we have Attendance Options tab, and here, just some tracking. If you would like a column to track communion and or a column to track excused absences, you just check these boxes. You can track them for events or for groups classes. So pretty self-explanatory there. That just adds a column where you can check, yes, they did commune, or yes, their absence was excused. All right, let's look at the next tab. Here we have the, whoops, I'm going to turn to page 7, the Lookup Data tab. This is a this is a tab that shows you, you can see just below this tab, there's 4 tabs: city, state, zip code, and countries. Those 4 areas in the people module, when you're filling those in, it keeps a list of anything new that is added, and then you can just choose that from the list. If you want to add new things right here before you even do your records, you can click here, and I could just type in the name of the new, whoops, I probably want that capitalized. But I can type in the name of that new city, state, zip code, or country and hit save. And now that would be available when I go into a record and click the drop-down list here. I should have Reynoldsburg available. Oops, I already had a Reynoldsburg, so now I have 2 Reynoldsburgs. But let's go see now how we delete one of those. So that field, as I was saying, is going to compile and track and keep a lookup or a list of any of the cities, states, zip codes, or countries that you add. If you want to delete one, I can find it here and click the minus at the end of the line. And then it's going to ask me, do I want to delete it from just this list? Do I want to delete it from this list and from all membership and donation addresses that use it? Do I want to replace it with a new value, or do I want to cancel? I want to go ahead and delete it. And now I just have the same one I did. Obviously, if I chose delete this from this list and all membership and donation addresses that use it, then I'm removing it from the program. I wouldn't have any record again of people being in Reynoldsburg. That would be off of the record. Replace and with a new value instead of deleting. Let me pull that back up again. That would give me an option. After I close this, here I can just click right on Sunbury and change that. I'm not going to change. I'm going to leave it. But that would be how you can actually edit that if you need to. Or the last option was to cancel the delete. If you did it by accident, then see cancel. And I forgot to turn the page and tell you to look at page 8. There was more. That's what I was just talking about on page 8. Last item, and we're really not over time because I think our computer clock is a minute or two ahead. Last item is individual and family pictures. You probably will only, if you're brand new to Church Windows, then you probably don't need to come into this area. In the older modules or older versions of Church Windows, you only had the ability to add a family picture to an individual. You couldn't add it to the actual family record. So normally you would add it to the primary person for the directory. However, as the program has changed, you now can add that picture to the family. And that's usually what you have is a family picture that you're putting in a directory. I don't think I've ever come across, maybe doing a like little group class directory, but I don't think I've ever come across a church doing a directory of every single individual. It was normally a family. So what this will do is if you were on an older version where you had to put that picture on individuals, then you want to come to this tab and take a look, and it's going to show you any pictures it sees that are actually on individual records, and you can here assign those to the actual family records. If you need help doing that, definitely give us a call. There's a little image if you have the book that shows you here. It will show you the pictures, and there's a button that says assign pictures to the family, and you're just going to click on that, and the program will move it for you, and then you just, once you're done with all those, click save. And that way you can have a nice family directory in the new version. All right, that is everything I want to show you, and according to my cell phone, it is just now 1:20, and I trust that because that links to something that gives us an overall time for everyone. All right, so if there are questions, I'm going to go ahead and open the floor. Just go ahead and type those in the question panel, and then I'll go ahead and answer those out loud for everyone if there's any questions. Someone said they missed most of the webinar. Is there a place I can catch this on my own time? Well, actually, this is being recorded, and once Robert, he cleans it up and standardizes them, usually I think by Thursday they are added to our website. So if you just go onto our website, I see thank yous coming in. You're welcome, folks. You're welcome, you're welcome. Whoops, I think I was on the website and I clicked it off. So let's go to the website. If you go to our website and go to, well, actually, I would click on, oh, my screen jumped. I would click on Support Center. And notice below, you can click on any of the versions here, but notice just below here, you see all the different videos, and the most current ones will be at the top. So once this is ready and put on our website, it should be right up here near the top for your viewing pleasure. All right. Any other questions? You're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome. I'm seeing all these thank yous coming in. I'm just going to say it out loud instead of typing it. All right. Well, if there are no questions, we're going to go ahead and end today's webinar. Make sure you take a look on our website. If somebody else signed you up for this, show you really quickly where you can find the webinars. If you go to beginning and then click, whoops, beginning and click on free online webinars. There's all the topics for October. Sign up and come learn. All right. Thanks, folks. I'm going to end the webinar for today. But if you have more questions, definitely give us a call. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. And I'm sure I'll talk to you on the phone sometime in the future. Bye.